Marlowe, you are currently outside of the oh no, you'd probably be inside of the video store. Having been taken led there by Savante, who bids you to sit down and wait for a little bit uh until you can meet this Tremere person.
Hmm. Is he there with me? Sort of staying with me while we wait?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try and have a little talk with him. The film's a Malkavian thing. The choice in coterie, I mean. I'm just curious.
Did you mean Haven?
Haven, sorry. Wrong word. It's been a long night.
Not to my knowledge, no.
No. Find it curious that I tend to hang about in the theatre. Mr. Kale tends to hang about video store. Interesting anyway. I was just wondering if there was any particular quirk that drew him to that.
I don't believe so. I think it's more positioning, but I never thought to ask.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What's your quirk, Mr. Savante? Have you got a thing that interests you?
I mean, we've all got something, right?
Yeah, we do indeed. Sometimes too many things, but working on narrowing down my list. Tremere will help with that. Is there any do's and don'ts? I've not met one before.
It's been through a lot, so kids' gloves maybe. Depends what you want out of him.
Right. Any subjects to avoid?
Probably not. He should be fine.
Okay. On that note, while I'm here with you,
Yeah.
Cale doesn't seem too bothered by his neighbours encroaching on his space. Oh, God. I don't know if you've heard anything about that. Heard anything about them, in fact?
Can't say I have.
Fair enough. Well, stay on your toes, I guess.
Yeah, try to.
All right. If you don't mind me asking, what's Cale up to? Exactly. Like, fast forward 3 months. Where would he want to be? I don't quite... I know he wanted the meeting, but I never quite got that. Always bugged me.
I mean, I understand your curiosity,
Yeah.
but, you know, imagine if Mr. Kale wandered into your office and was like, so what are you guys' plans? What's your secret dark desires? And
Yeah, I understand. It's one of those questions that rarely gets an answer in our world, but I like to ask it anyway.
generally you get an answer, but when you find it, you don't, it's too late
Yeah.
to...
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Still, he's...
As far as I know, he has no interests in citywide domination and killings and
Well, that's...
and all that.
Well, that makes him somewhat of a rarity, so that's good, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Far too many of them up to that. Far too many. Well, yeah. I only like to know people's interests because it makes it easier to then side with them or against them when shit hits a fan and there's
profile them.
Yeah, that too. You know, it's just nice to know what you're up against, or nice to know who your neighbours are, what they're up. Yeah, my head's still in the game, but not this game. Another one. Still think like I'm not completely dead yet. To my detriment, I guess.
Well, it can take time to acclimatise to anything.
Yeah. How old are you? In terms of being. When was your first death day?
Oof, 6, 7 years.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fairly fresh then, but I'm sure it's sunk in.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't. Life was never perfect anyway, so you know, it wasn't too much of a culture shock or whatever you want to call it to change.
Yeah, I hear you. Was Kale's not your sire, is he?
No.
Never thought to ask, but not many Malkavians about. Did you know old Gibbs Hamilton?
Yeah.
Anything you could tell me about him? I mean, technically, in the world of the dead, he's my old man.
Same.
Right. Okay. Cool. That makes us sort of a bit. All right. Yeah. That's right. So, how did do you still speak to him?
No, he's dead.
Yes, he is. If there was anything you wanted to say to him, maybe you can help me out with a dilemma.
Sure.
I might as well be open about it because, quite frankly, I want to get to the bottom of it. And to put my cards on the table, I'm not sure if I'm bonkers or some form of, not clairvoyant, I'm not sure what the word is, but anyway, every now and again he pesters me and I can hear him. And he's normally got annoyingly somewhat helpful advice, but from a pretty grim perspective. So, again, not sure if that's actually there or not. I'd like to test that theory, though. Anything you want to say to him? I'll pass the message on.
I mean, I never really had much to do with him, to be fair. So.
Right. Is there anything I could ask him from you? Any answer you want? And then I'll get back to you with it. And if it surprises you, then maybe I'm not completely nuts.
Well, I always wondered why he wanted to kill those Kindred.
Yeah. Recently was this, or?
Well, that's why he was executed.
Yeah. Oh, murder as well as kidnap it was. Yeah, it makes sense. That's what most of them are up to. Shouldn't really come as a surprise. Yeah, it is a good question. I tried asking him if he knew when he hired me what would happen about it. Gave me an annoying answer. I don't know.
So you're wanting to know if it's real or fake or
Pretty much.
insanity or...
Well, it's nice to know if he's a manifestation of what's going on in my head or if there's something else at play, you know? I was brought up believing in praying and all of that stuff, so this seems like just a darker version of it, really, but I don't know.
Well, in my experience, generally, even the fake stuff has bits of reality mixed in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess maybe a worst case scenario, we need to do some sort of... I guess it's like a dream analysis, isn't it? Only I'm not really asleep.
Well,
Maybe I am. Halfway between the two, perhaps.
yeah. I mean, you feel the... You feel the presence, right? That thing off in the middle of nowhere.
I don't really know what I feel.
Sometimes you can get some insights. Sometimes. Or sometimes you just get gibberish and bullshit.
I know about the latter.
Yeah.
Got anything interesting recently?
It's hard to tell.
Allow me to break the ice then. I know I'm going to fill him in on the entire description of the giant chicken vision from sort of start to finish in terms of what I saw. I'm going to allude to the details of the body, however, and exactly where it was or the fact that it was frozen, etc. So I just found a dead body somewhere and investigated it.
And not the details of it or anything.
Not the details of where it was, and the like frozen in time stuff, etc. Yeah. So just pretty much found a body, and this is what I saw. Yeah. So that's me.
Can't say I've had anything quite along those lines, to be honest.
It's probably a good thing.
It sounds maybe like crossed wires, you know? Like you're going for AM and you get FM.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so maybe looking at it through the wrong lens or something.
Or it's just some random piece of craziness you pulled out of thin air. I don't know.
Maybe.
Problem with being randomly prophetic or randomly insightful or just randomly crazy is you can never tell which one it is. And usually it's only at the end where you figure it all out. When everything's put in front of you. Mostly I ignore it myself.
Yeah, well, if you're only going to figure it out at the end, then what's the point in trying, I guess? It's one way of looking at it, at least. I can certainly appreciate that point of view. Give yourself a headache chasing your tail. Or a giant chicken, as the case may be.
Yeah. Speaking of headache, I'll just go check on our guest.
Yeah.
And he walks out to go check on the Tremere. So, after a brief pause by yourself, Savante comes back in and says, "Oh, he's not sober. but it's about as good as you're going to get at the moment. So, why don't you come in and say hello?
All right.
And
What's his name?
Alex.
Oh, nice. All right.
Alexander,
I'll walk in with him.
Technically, I guess, but yeah, takes you in. It's just pretty empty room. There's a desk. There's a couple of chairs. There's a bed, and there is a probably about mid-20s, almost like he would look like a banker, and he's got like a suit on and everything, but it's kind of dirty and disheveled, and you know, there's no tie and the buttons are
Okay.
undone.
Yep.
And Savante says, Alex, got someone who wants to talk to you. We'd be much appreciative if you'd entertain him for a while, if you don't mind. And the guy sitting at the thing says, no, of course, it's absolutely fine. Come in. Have a seat, sir.
Thank you very much. Marlowe, pleasure.
Alex Barnes. Pleasure to meet you.
I've not met a Tremere in quite some time.
And many of us left, unfortunately.
No. If you don't mind me cutting to the chase, how is it you are still around when so many have gone?
I had the either unfortunate or fortunate circumstances of being sent over to talk to Mr. Kale when everything happened and everyone went missing. He was very kind to agree to keep me here for a while.
Right. And so far so good, it would seem.
I don't think many people know that I'm here. So it's good.
Would you prefer it remain a secret then? I'm happy keeping this between small circles.
It doesn't seem like anyone's looking for me, so...
No. I do wonder if the moment has passed, if you were to know what I mean. But, do you think there was anything to do with... I mean, I was aware Mr. Bastian, I suspect even, had been kidnapped. And that was only days before a lot of the elders burst into fame. Did you ever feel that there was a connection?
Yes, we did. I am pretty sure that that's exactly a direct correlation, in fact.
If you don't mind me asking, I mean, for not just for curiosity's sake, but having, let's call him a stepsire of mine, perish in this. And there are those I know that would like to see who was responsible for this, held account, I guess. Is there anything that you think might help point me in a direction?
Well, everything you will probably want to know is, okay, so this is a very big secret.
Okay.
And it's, I have mentioned it to Mr. Kale, but no one else. So,
Right.
But if you're looking for answers, you'll need to go back to the Tiny Nip.
Right.
There is a bookcase there with a couple
I see.
of books.
And, yeah.
No, what you want to do is you want to use those books and they'll reveal to you a secret passage. And in the passage there's a maze.
Really?
So
I'm going to try and pretend I don't know in this. So I'll roll if you need me to, but hopefully he's drunk enough to not care.
Yeah, roll me a subterfuge.
It's just manipulation.
Manipulation subterfuge. Yeah.
Okay, this is just manipulation. That's all I've got.
Okay.
No. Wow.
Well, let's just have a little looky here, shall we? That's 0 successes. You can reroll 2 if you'd like.
No, I'm sticking with it. I've got my 1 reroll. I'll save that for something else.
Well, that's
you got 0 as well.
That's so lucky for you.
So I lied terribly, and he didn't. Oh, my
didn't
word!
notice.
I have never seen a maze before in my life.
Yes. Well, this one, we don't know the origins of, but we think it's some kind of old cult built like millennia ago.
Wow.
You know?
What's inside?
There's a repository of knowledge where we keep like books and that, and
right.
And also there's some artifacts. Don't touch the artifacts. They're very, very potent.
What happens if you touch them?
Well, nothing if you touch them, but some of them can be activated, and we're still trying to figure out exactly how they all work.
All right, so there's a mysterious element to this.
Well, there's like lots of words about there's a horn, for example, which you don't want to touch. You don't touch the horn.
Have you?
Oh yeah, when I was cataloguing, and yes, or cleaning, but the important thing is not to touch. Like, just don't activate any of them. Okay.
Do you like cleaning horns?
I mean, someone's got to clean them, right? So
I understand. Right. But nothing bad happened when you touched it.
No, well, that's not how you activate that one, of course. So
I assume you
I don't
have to.
Touching any of them would activate them, but
Well, that's good to know. What about the others? Sounds like a curious.
Well, if you go down and if you manage to find your way through the maze, then you'll find out for yourself. Just don't touch them. But
okay.
The important thing is you don't want to mess with the research.
Research?
Mr. Bastion, he was doing research, and we thought that it could empower our magic, our blood sorcery, our use of blood magic.
Right. Okay.
But it doesn't. It's completely the opposite. It doesn't empower blood magic. Well, not the way we wanted it to. No, it sets you on fire.
No. Okay.
No.
Does it make you weaker? Does it take away your magic?
No. So the research was. Have you ever heard of Thin Bloods?
Yes, I've heard. Yeah.
Right. So the Thin Bloods, they have their alchemy, and they use their bloods. They use their. But none of us could do it. So we thought maybe if we research it, if we combine it with our own blood magic of our own, or maybe we can empower our power.
Right.
But it does the opposite. We empower it, you know?
It makes it sound like it's a sentient thing.
No, it's not sentient. We empower them. What they want
the Thin
to
Bloods.
do.
Oh.
What
Right.
they want to do. If they want to do their alchemy, then
Well, that would seemingly tie in with several events of the kidnapping of Mr. Bastion.
It's weird. I think it's why they were kidnapped.
He was suspicious of them breaking into his establishment days before.
They broke in and stole some of his research. Helios and Luna. Have you ever heard of Helios and Luna?
Sounds familiar. I think I've heard a friend talk about them, but...
Helios was the god of the sun.
Right.
And Luna is the god of the moon.
Makes sense.
Goddess of the moon.
Okay.
And when the moon is full, the brother and sister god and goddess are linked closer. You see, Helios makes Luna stronger.
Right.
And then all you need is a battery. Battery to ignite the spark. That's it, basically.
I feel I may be lost in the metaphor here somewhere.
But you just need to connect the blood.
Right.
And then you light the spark, and all of the blood is ignited. But you need the power.
Did you find a battery? Did you find what sufficed to be this?
We are the battery. We empower it, you see.
I see.
Which is why we went missing, because they wanted to.
Oh, apologies. When you said we, I thought you meant Kindred, not necessarily the. Yes, I see. Yes, apologies. It's taken me a while to twig on to that. Right.
And that's why everyone caught on fire. The older you are, the more susceptible you are to the magic and to the fire. The stronger your blood is, and the more powerful. So, many of you may have even had the same blood, but it just doesn't work because...
Right. So this was a side effect, effectively, of... One... Do you think the consequences of this were known to those that were dabbling in it?
I think it was why they did it.
I see.
I mean, the only way you can effectively do this is you'd have to use your blood alchemy, the thin bloods, and then you build up the blood and you make sure the blood gets distributed.
Yeah.
People drink, and then when the moon is full and the power is strong, you burn one of us, and that connects and empowers the fire.
And
everyone is dust.
Does this repeat? Like, if there's more moons?
I mean, if you do it again, then sure. You can easily do it again.
Right. But one would assume, as we're still here, fairly, well, I'm speaking for myself, fairly young, I would assume that we're somewhat safe from this.
Most possibly. I unfortunately wasn't privy to the entirety of the research. I was an assistant. But, yeah.
I mean, this is perhaps a dream, but is there any other way one might access what he was researching or delve into the depths of his workings? Or was all of it in
just the research?
Just a collection of papers? I see. Well, we think it fairly... If one is to look for thin bloods, then I guess that would lead us to the culprits. Well, that has been quite the...
I mean, it's the reason why no one has found out so far. Only Mr. Gale knows.
Yeah. There's been reason to believe that they were involved in the kidnapping, but I'd always thought that it was someone a bit more. Yeah. I didn't necessarily. I don't know what I thought, actually.
I mean, why would anyone already old and powerful want to get rid of what's a way to get rid of old and powerful people? You know, it's Kindred who are strong and old and planned. Makes no sense.
One can only assume, though, that there's something they're going to do with this. I mean, it seems that establishing a small territory is perhaps... Is that enough?
It's very possible that this was just opportunity, maybe. You know, it was old Kindred here who were stamping down on them, and you know, or maybe once they found out about it, they got together and decided to get rid of all the elders and everything, and maybe now they've gone off to do it somewhere else.
And my brain can't help but wonder is the only battery yourself, as it were?
Well, I don't think I'd be much use, to be honest, because I haven't been Kindred for that long, just 10 years or so.
Okay.
But again, it's the research was.
Yeah.
I was only privy to some of it, and the
I'm
rest
really
is
curious.
The rest is conjecture and things
I understand.
tried to figure out afterwards.
Very much appreciated, though. My only concerns are for a repeat occurrence, because even before being dead, it was fairly apparent that once someone had a taste for something and realised what they could do to achieve goals, they would invariably repeat it.
My only concern is oblivion.
That's a reasonable concern. So what are you doing here to pass the time?
And he raises a bottle of kind of like very gloopy red liquid in like a wine bottle, seeking oblivion.
Is that... some form of cocktail?
It's just blood.
Oh, what's in the blood?
My own, not really invention, but it's just you give someone a whole load of alcohol, and then once they're saturated with the alcohol, you just tap a vein, and but of course not everyone can drink blood like this, you know, like older blood.
I myself find myself often out of the sort of social decorums, being one of the only coterie members that can drink cold blood, as it were.
Ah, me too.
I have a preference. Would you mind if I sample your brew, as it were?
He passes over the bottle.
Okay, and I will see. I assume it just tastes like blood, because by the time it's in there, it's not going to like leave an aftertaste of anything else.
And you have to drink a fair amount to get the buzz and everything.
Okay, so. I'll just have like the equivalent of like a half a beer. So I don't know. I'll just have a sip or two, and I'll see if there's any effect on me, and then maybe have another sip or two a minute later.
Feel free to go down a dot.
Okay. Case. I'm already on one, so this is now just sort of...
You're just still on one, yeah.
This just is just drinking for pleasure now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, there you go. I don't think I can be of any other help. But...
I'm sure you can. As you are unique in our city at the moment.
I wouldn't say that, but...
Are there others? Of your clan, at least?
No. I As far as I know, they all got taken, and they're not even in the city now, from what we can tell. So,
Yeah. Taken, and do you assume destroyed?
I don't know. It could be destroyed, could be kept for more attempts like this in other places,
Indeed.
or they could come back here and try it again. I don't
The
really know.
that is the problem with batteries. Some of them are rechargeable. I can't help but think that if you shove a load more blood in a kindred, that they'll be recharged, as it were. Concerning, but enlightening at the same time. Well, I thank you very much for your counsel.
Happy to help.
I would have a riddle for you as well, if you may humour me. I'd once heard of... Pause for a second. Can Tremere stop or influence time?
I don't think so. It's not something I've ever heard of.
Interesting. I must have been misinformed, but thank you for clarifying that for me.
Happy to help. Whatever keeps me in blood and somewhere to hide is alright by me.
Yeah. And where is your blood supply? Is Kale sorting you out, so to speak?
Like shakes the bottle.
But it's not a never-ending bottle, is it? That's not a...
For services rendered, Mr. Kale is very accommodating. I appreciate his patronage.
If you don't mind me asking, and forgive me for being a nosy Parker, but once upon a time I was paid to be a nosy Parker. What services did you offer?
Information, all the information I have given to you.
Ah.
He asked for me to pass it on to you, so you can do with it as you would like.
Well, I think I know some people that would be very pleased to hear about this. It is concerning, but also it solidifies something that we suspected, but the problem with all this mess is that every arsehole out there, and by arsehole I mean Kindred, is trying to kill each other, for the large part. Which means finding the arseholes that killed a load of Kindred quite difficult. Bit too much infighting, you know.
I mean, I've never known of a time when there wasn't. Human
True.
or vampire.
Fair enough. But it is a shame. Still, perhaps this is something to rally around. It is concerning, at least. I'll try and keep your whereabouts, at least, a secret. I wouldn't want anything to... Have you been in this room for long?
A few months, on and off. There was one time we were moved, but we came back, so it's fine.
And you're sufficiently protected, you feel?
As far as I know, yes. I wouldn't be surprised if we moved again, but
yeah,
I don't know when that would be.
I will mention to Savante that if I am to spread any of this information, it's perhaps prudent to be. Let's perhaps find a nicer home for you.
Oh, the information is yours to do with as you will.
I shall. And so, what are you going to do after all this?
I haven't really thought that far ahead.
Fair enough. Drinking tends to do that. Keeps you in the moment, though.
Yes.
Fair enough. Anything else in the maze of interest? Always curious.
I'm sure you'll figure it out as you go. It's, I really was only in the laboratory mostly, so aside from that.
There's a laboratory.
Hmm? Oh yeah. Big room. Was there before we found it.
Hmm.
You can't miss it. There's flasks and books and all sorts of sciencey stuff.
Does seem hard to miss. Okay. Well, I do hope you stay safe. Have you ever considered going back to the maze to continue?
No.
Are you done with that?
I think I'm quite happy where I am now. The maze is what got us into all this trouble. I would prefer not to go back.
Understandable.
If you find a way to destroy it or burn it down, I'll have a drink with you at some point.
That sounds like it may be a quite... That sounds like a good idea. Both of those things. And I thank you for your company. This has been oddly cooperative. Not all kindred are forthcoming. Rarely, in fact.
I have no reason not to be.
Yes, that is the issue. Too many of them have too many reasons to not be forthcoming. But this has been enjoyable, and it's given me a lot to think about. I'm going to perhaps stretch my legs and take care, all right?
And yourself as well. Fair winds and safe health. There.
And to you, live long and prosper.
Okay. Head out.
I will head out.
I'm assuming you don't want to discuss anything of import with Savante, because it's pretty much just like a door or two and then you're out.
Yeah, the only passing comment would be is that I like, if he dies in the next few days, I'm going to feel like it's my fault. So please move him somewhere just so I feel that he's safe.
Okay.
Purely to satisfy my paranoia. That's all I'll say, and then I'm going to head out.
I'll take that on board and pass it on.
Yeah, please do. And my gratitude to Kale as well. That was unexpected and helpful in many ways, and useful. Very useful.
Well, have a good night.
Yes, I will have a good night. And to you, by the way. I hope you get whatever you want in death.
Much appreciated. And yourself.
I'm going to stretch my legs.
Okay.